I've wanted to make something like this for a while, right? There's a way to kind of talk about things that are on my mind when it comes to making audio and my motivation to making audio. Um, so this should kind of serve as like a way to get to know me better, I guess, and maybe a sleep aid as I ramble on. This game does have some flashing lights in it, so if you have, epilepsy or something, go careful, I guess. So this is Hardspace Shipbreaker. It's a game where you destroy ships, basically. Shipbreaking, obviously. So I'm playing on, a mode where I haven't got to worry about oxygen or anything, just because I figure it would, keep me more focused on speaking while I play. Hopefully my keyboard isn't too loud. Okay, it's pressurized. But yeah, the aim of the game is just to destroy this ship, basically, and salvage it for parts. Okay, so to release those from inside. So for those of you that don't know, my the audio I make on Reddit, this is actually my second account, right? My first account was called Pleb Author, terrible name, I know, but originally I was going to write scripts, because I've always been, into roleplay, I guess, and that kind of thing. Just because, I don't know, I've just always enjoyed both fantasy and writing, just things like it, I guess. It's really not a helpful description, I guess, but that's fine. So I did that for about 2 months before, but I found myself I was really obsessed with the numbers side of things. I always wanted to get more listens or more upvotes or whatever, and I got frustrated at myself when that didn't result in the thing I wanted, and I ended up making a bunch of audios that I wasn't necessarily into, and it just didn't make sense. Like, the one that I get most embarrassed at is I made a ghost face audio, and obviously I'm a British man. I don't suit the voice of any of the ghost face. I made like several, I don't know why, but I found that they, when I was looking at it, they got lots of clicks and stuff, so I was like, oh, I'll make that. Even if it made no sense whatsoever. So I made kind of a vow to myself this time around that I would, I would only make things that I actually want to make.
Airlock depressurizing.
So this bit's a bit, I always get this bit wrong in this game, I can't lie. So this ship is pressurized, right? So if I breach the hull in any way, it will vent all of the air and me into the outside of the ship. So, the atmosphere regulators are bloody fried. Nice one. Is there another one in here? Okay, that one's there. So it should vent all of the air There we go. Okay, so now I've done that, it should be safe to open this, I hope. If I get sucked out and die, it's gonna suck.
Airlock depressurizing.
Okay, it's fine, it's fine. So anyway, this time around, making audio, I mean, I wanted to make things that actually, I'm on fire. So what happened there is I missed my used my cutting tool and set myself on fire after that again. Okay, bloody hell, what's something just exploded behind me? And now half the ship is gone. See, this is why I shouldn't be trusted around explosives. Anyway. I guess it exploded. I forgot. I want to make things that I would enjoy both making and, you know, listening to. If I was the listener, right? And I've always loved fantasy, right, and sci-fi and any kind of escapism, really. Just because I've always longed for, I guess, it's just like another world, I guess. I've always loved escapism, Lord of the Rings, anything like that, to be honest. I've always loved the idea, even like isekai anime and stuff. I've always loved the idea of just getting away. And it's not even like I'd want to be anyone interesting. I just think being like a peasant or something in a universe with dragons would be kind of fire.
Processor deposit accepted. Credits awarded.
Like, I'm under no illusions that I would be the main character. I would happily be a fruit salesman. I'd happily be the fruit salesman that gets like my stand knocked over, you know, like during the chase scenes and like Indiana Jones. If that was me, I would die content. I mean, I'd probably miss, you know, basic luxuries like, I don't know, toilet paper, I guess. That would actually suck, to be fair. But, oh Christ. But it's not just audio, I guess. Because I've always loved, like, the audio medium in general, right? Like I've used YouTube videos and stuff as podcasts for as long as I can remember. Like, even as far back as, like, before I even had, like, a phone or anything, right? Like, just playing videos on the computer and lying on the sofa, just doing other stuff. And a few years ago, I discovered audio horror podcasts. You know, like the Magnus Archive and that kind of thing. We're Alive is also part of the same network, I think, and I genuinely adore that show. Like, the soundscaping and everything is really something else. Like, it's basically just a movie without the pictures, right? Like, the audio is so well done, you can imagine everything. At least I can, I guess. Your experience may vary, but so I've always wanted to make something like that, last few years at least. Because I've always been interested in writing and that kind of thing. Right? It goes back to wanting to write audio scripts, I guess, as well. Is that even when I was a kid, I was writing like little stories and things with my with my nan. Oh, I forgot about that. Oh no. Oh, okay. Oh, but that's fine. That's not separate yet. Okay. There's a bunch of. Oh, okay. Be careful of the fire barrel. So there's a couple of you know, ideas of things I want to make and things I want to do in the sort of audio space, right? Like some kind of horror podcast, I think would be good. And I've got some experience voice acting
Raw
now.
material deposited.
Whether or not you think I'm any good is something else entirely. But yeah, it's just a bunch of things, like creatively, that I really want to sort of get better at and get to grips with. It's like, one example is game design. Like, I've always, like, I've been programming since I was like, as old, like, ever had a computer, essentially, right? Whether it be like Scratch or, you know, Python, doing things with my like
Salvage
my
secured.
uncle, or
Credits deposited.
you know, other members of my family, my friends. There's always something about game design and playing games, which I've just always adored. So making some kind of game, I think, would be okay, that's not good. I think it's gonna explode horribly, I think. Okay, it's fine. I think I stopped it, hopefully. There we go. It's a bit dislodged now. I think there was a console on the outside of here. I'm able to get out. There we go. But yeah, so I'm quite skilled at coding.
Credit to account.
With different
Valuable objects processed. Credits awarded.
different things I've done over the years, different projects for, you know, between my studies and everything else.
Credit applied.
But it's making some kind of game, any kind of creative. I want to do something creative, right? I've always, like I say, I've always liked writing and the things. I'm terrible at art is the issue, right? I'm really quite dreadful at art, which is obviously, and when I began sort of making like small games and things, you know, this year, that was the main thing I realised is 90% of a game is the art and the art direction and how it looks, because I could make things with you know, in the code with, like, you know, replace, instead of having sprites or objects or whatever, just replacing it with you know, just cubes and stuff, or capsules or circles or whatever. And the main thing I realised is that
Processor deposit
animation and
credits awarded. Salvage deposit confirmed.
so I'm distracted.
Applying credit.
Animation is 90% of the game, right? Like, making a game, most of the game is the animation, right? And upon realizing this, I tried to do like really small animations, right? Like little things for, you know, characters or objects, and I don't know, the way I've tried to minimize it is by making really simple objects, right? Or like using a very limited color palette and I've been doing mostly pixel art, right? I'm not any good. Let me just preface this and say I'm not any good. But learning how to do some basic level of art
Registered.
has been quite like a journey, right? Because I don't know.
Salvage secured.
I've always
Account
wanted to
credit
do some
applied.
kind of like drawing art skill, right? Because I'm mostly like a maths oriented guy with, you know, programming and that kind of thing, but Does that mean... I think I've just said nonsense the last, like, 8 sentences. I'm sorry. It's the same thing, like, 4 or 5 times. Anyway. But there's just a bunch of... you know, different creative things I really want to do, and I just lack the skill for all of them. And I guess that's why you do things in groups, right? In teams and that kind of thing, because if you don't have a skill, someone else will. But...
Salvage secured. Applying credit.
like I said, I would quite like to do just anything creative before I finish my degree and I'm sucked into the endless monotony of
Salvage deposit secured.
having to
Credit
work for a
awarded.
living. Because I've just basically got endless free time at the moment because I'm at uni, right? Hopefully that's all done. Oh, processor. Okay. Always forget. There we go.
Object accepted for processing. Credits deposited.
Hopefully that's... yeah, okay.
Salvage deposit registered. Account credited.
So, to go a little more in depth with why I like horror so much, and especially using, you know, an audio podcast as the medium for horror, is because it's like entirely imagination dependent, right? Like, it kind of harkens back to that like Lovecraftian kind of aesthetic, I guess, where it's all the language is used in a way that
Salvage secured.
only you can imagine, like, the horror of it, if that makes sense. Like, if it's nameless, indescribable horror, everyone's going to have their own
Salvage
interpretation
deposit registered. Account
for
credited.
that horror, right? Like, the worst thing you can imagine will be different from what I can imagine. That's why I think audio is such a good platform for horror, because everyone has something else that scares them, right? Everyone has different things. I'm terrified of spiders, for example.
Salvage
So in the
deposited.
Magnus Archives,
Applying credit to account.
actually it's probably spoilers, I won't say that. If you haven't listened to the Magnus Archives, listen to it. It's so incredible. Season 2 is coming out at the moment. Season 2? I don't know if it's really Season 2. I guess it is. Part 2, maybe? Without going to spoilers for that, that show, it is genuinely one of the just best pieces of horror I think I've ever consumed, to be honest. Like, movies and stuff, like, I wouldn't, maybe it's not scary, I'd say. Maybe it's more it's whatever your imagination can concoct, as I say. Like, oh no, not in the furnace.
Processing object.
But yeah, when I think about the horror movies I've watched and the horror stories and podcasts and things I've listened to, the ones that stick out to me most are the ones that
Valuable object.
aren't filled with like jump scares or anything like that. It's the ones that are just unsettling, right? Which is a lot of what the Magnus Archive does well. It is. I think the most viral clip's probably the I'm Plastic one from the... I can't remember when the show it's from, to be honest, but like that Don't be scared. Oh, I had to borrow this one with the voice box. Because it's audio, you can't do jump scares really. Or anyone that gets jump scared, it's a character in universe, basically. So it has to rely on unsettling you. Like my favorite horror movie is Sinister, because the entire movie, there's one jump scare maybe at the end, but other than that, it's entirely unraveling this mystery. So it's honestly more of a thriller. Just put a tether down. It's honestly more of a mystery about, you know, him unraveling this story about this family in this house and the history of it, and finding these tapes, and then the story behind it and everything else. I haven't seen the sequels, and I've heard they're not good. But is there a way to detach this from the other side? Can't remember. I'm just gonna melt it, I think.
Salvage destroyed. Please revisit your training.
Come on. In the barge you go. Oh Christ, the entire thing's moving. Stop that. But yeah, I've heard the sequels aren't very good. I guess because they probably fall more down the traditional horror jump scare route. There's a few other horror podcasts I listen to as well. Also, there's like r/no sleep, which has a lot of scary stories in, I guess. I read some of those occasionally. Nowhere near as much as horror podcasts, stuff like that. Can I grab this? I wonder what it is about horror that is so... Oh, Christ. So captivating, I guess. Because even my friends, right, they're also obsessed with horror, and we've talked about before, and in the past when we were like kids, made like, or tried to make horror shorts and things like that, right? Like horror videos, like, you know, like the classic. This guy on Instagram called like Spangler Look Ray, I think his name is, who makes like I think they vary in quality, honestly, his shorts. But most of the time they're pretty high quality. Where he's like kind of obsessed with like limbs and like hands and that kind of thing, and hands having too many fingers or too many arms or things like that. And I think it comes across like really well in that kind of medium. Pick up. Oh yes. But yeah, he makes these horror shorts with. He lives in a really creepy house. I can't lie. And it really lends itself to that kind of, you know, being a kid and looking, you know, like monster at the bottom of the stairs or in the basement kind of thing. But as like an adult. And I find a lot of his videos kind of effective at that kind of unsettling scariness, right? Like, there's another guy as well who like has these like really creepy masks. I don't know if you've seen those. And the other ones are quite like, is any of the ones where it's like they say the person's name in the video, like Jason. They're like knocking the window or the door or whatever.
Salvage registered. Transferring credit.
I guess because it's targeted, right? If your name is Jason or whatever, it's gonna It's gonna be ultra creepy for like 2 a.m. when you're watching these reels or whatever, and then. Oh Christ! Just got hit by it. So you can die in this game if you get hit by objects coming towards you, like Mark III.
Salvage deposit secured. Credits awarded.
27 minutes. How long has it been? Oh my god. It's going on and on. I'm just rambling away. But kind of moving away from horror and back to the audio side of things, I guess. Recently especially, I've been struggling with motivation to make audios, because I'm basically finished with my assignments for uni for the year, but my output has been like worse than ever, right? Like, I really haven't put anything out recently. And every time I try and write a script, or any time I try and just make any progress with making an audio, I always find there's something off about it. Like, the script I've written is too just awkwardly phrased or something, or it relies on too specific of an audience like reaction, or audience like listening to a certain or replying with a certain phrase sort of thing. Because I've been toying around with this idea of like a truth or dare audio, but I find that writing it is so it's just awkward to do. Like, because obviously the listener's not going to say, for example, like, oh, I dare you to do this thing. So it kind of takes away, I guess, any autonomy from the. So you don't want to, when you write scripts and stuff, you don't want to lock the listener into being a certain personality type, because if they're not, then they're not going to enjoy it as much, right? I think, at least for me, is when I listen to an audio and someone assumes I've said something when I said something else. It's not annoying, but it's like, you definitely feel it, right? So when it comes to making audio, it's kind of an awkward balancing act, right? Processing. So, yeah, okay.
Processor deposit accepted. Credits awarded.
But kind of coming back round to, more my original point. Yeah. When it comes to my motivation at the moment, I find that I feel like I always sound like I'm reading from a script, even when I'm like I'm freewheeling it. I always find like there's something slightly off with how it sounds, right? And I guess it's partly because it's a performance, right? It's always going to sound slightly unnatural. But I've been really trying to, when I'm making these new audios, really kind of focus in on my performance, right?
Salvage deposit accepted.
Focus on how I come across in the audio.
Applying credits to account.
And I think my best audios are the ones where I've really dialed in my performance, right? I obviously, I guess.
Salvage secured. Applying credit.
I still think my favourite audio, at least to have both made and performed and all the rest of it, is what's it called? It's the one by Ivy Hawk. I can't remember what it's called now. Sorry, I'll have to find out. It's clearly my favourite. I can't remember what the name is. But just the process of making it and how much sort of
Valuable object process.
care and attention I put into making it. The glass was worth more? Oh my god. Anyway, oh Christ, it's gone flying. But yeah, the sort of attention to detail I made in that audio was, I think, I've really enjoyed making it. I really enjoyed like the sound design for it. But I don't know.
Salvage deposit
But like,
secured.
the recent audios I have made have not been my best work, and I've been really trying to sort of just learn. So I've been trying to write my own scripts and do my own improvs and things, because
Salvage deposit
I sometimes
confirmed.
find that
Applying credit.
I don't want to mess up someone else's script, right? If they've spent all this time working on it and I give a subpar performance because,
Applying credit
you know,
to
I was a
account.
bit sniffly that day, or I just wanted to get the audio out or whatever. I feel like people's work deserves a bit more
Salvage
respect than
registered.
not
Transferring
my
credit.
best, if that makes sense. Hopefully that doesn't come across as, I don't know. There have definitely been audios I've made which have been good recently, but
Salvage
I feel like
secured.
trying to work on my own
Credit
skills
deposited.
and my own writing skills and my own dialing into what I like and what I like to make and things. 'Cause I do enjoy heavily audio edited scripts, but obviously they take a long time to make, and I don't know. I guess I should never make something that
Material deposited. Account
I'm not
credit
100%
applied.
satisfied with, obviously, right? I should never put something out which... What am I saying? I don't even know what I'm saying. I don't know where I cut that, because I just rambled on about nothing for like 5 minutes. But I guess what I want to talk about a little bit as well is I've tried to do sort of bigger projects before, when it comes to
Salvage
audio
deposited.
and
Applying credit to
making
account.
audio and things, and I feel like I've failed to deliver, because I have. It's like a while ago I wanted to make individual audios for, like, you know, my followers' names or something, right? Like and I started doing it, and I got about half of them done, but it just felt like at a certain point I wasn't putting, you know, my heart and soul into these like short 2-3 minute audios. I was just trying to get them all out, and it felt like, if, you know, the first 6 names I did or whatever, I tried, and then the rest of them I just sort of pumped out. It's kind of unfair, really, on, you know, if your name's alphabetically first, so, you know, you get the good audio, and then name starts with a Z or something, and then Z, I should say, I'm British. I don't know. Maybe I get too in my own head about it, and the majority of people just would not care and would prefer to have any audio than not put anything out whatsoever. But I feel like I want to, you know, put out my best work, not the bare minimum, or not what I can be bothered to do, if that makes sense. Oh Christ above. There's a few other things I want to try as well. Like, I feel like streaming could be fun, because I play games like 90% of the time anyway, and I feel like the being able to give me a reason to play these games rather than just wasting my time. You know what I mean? Like, I think one idea that's fun is playing something like XCOM, right? It's not really a popular game, I guess, but playing XCOM and being able to name, your characters after people in chat, kind of thing, would be kind of cool. But obviously, I feel like the overlap of mostly female listeners and people that enjoy XCOM is going to be very narrow. So, if that's something you would enjoy, let me know, I guess. But I don't know. I guess like also Minecraft and stuff could be kind of fun. Set up some kind of Minecraft realm, Minecraft something or other server, and then there are like dangers when it comes to like parasocial stuff, right?
Processor deposit accepted.
Like at the end of the day,
Credits awarded.
you come to listen to me moan to a microphone, right? You don't come for my incredible gaming skills or my incredible Minecraft building skills, which are non-existent. And interacting with fans is always going to lead to some kind of parasocial element, right? I don't know. At the same time, having some kind of community, some kind of
Valuable object processed. Credits awarded.
interaction, it's a balancing act, right? Almost done, I think. A little bit more to go. I feel like XCOM as well. It's the kind of game where you don't need to watch every second of the game to know what's happened, right? Other people can fill you in, and you can find out what's happened in the last thrilling battle, whatever. It's one of my favourite games as well. I have a lot of favourite games. Mostly really boring ones. No, the aerial! No! Oh, please. Let me grab it. Oh, it's gone. 58,000 credits down the drain. Can't believe it. Don't explode, please. Okay, it's fine. Buddy.
Salvage deposit registered. Credited.
So, I haven't really edited a video before, and I've had a lot of awkward silences, I think, in this audio. Audio? Video? Video, I guess. So, hopefully,
Processing valuable deposit. Credits transferred.
hopefully, I've edited it together well. Edited it. Oh god. Edited it. Nice. I can't sing. So one of the original reasons I started making audio in the first place is I really struggled with my speech. I had a bit of a stutter. Still kind of do occasionally, certain words and phrases. Mostly when I'm stressed. Like, the classic thing is like whenever a teacher picked on me, I would struggle to speak in the slightest and then embarrass myself. The thing is, it wasn't even like I was embarrassed about the stutter, right? Or anything like that. It was just I don't know, it's just getting like the slightest amount of pressure and I felt it, right, I guess. But hopefully I've managed to edit together this video in a way that's at least, you know, you're able to watch it, I guess.
Salvage secured. Applying credit.
Oh, Christ. So, in case you're wondering what these two things are, one is the processor there, one is the furnace. It's kind of arbitrary what is furnaceable and what is,
Deposit accepted.
you know, furnace and what is processed, but and the barge is for, you know,
Credit
objects that can be reused or recycled, right? So these fuel tanks, control panels, that kind of thing will be reused. So you ship it all together.
salvage
Ship. What am I
secured.
saying? Ship it all together
Account
for?
credit applied.
I'm really just rambling at this point. I think I'm done. I think I finished this deconstruction. You know. Yeah, this is all for the furnace apart from this. Can I disconnect this at all? Or is this just stuck? This might... Oh wait, I can use the cut tool. This is a great noise, hang on, listen, ready? Above cut grade, oh. That's miserable. Okay, I guess I can do it here. Processor. There we go. And all of this will get crammed in the furnace, I guess. Moving this is always a challenge. These things. Typically you just use the tethers, but they really can. There we
Material
go.
deposited. Account credit applied.
The last thing to do is just to tidy up all this
Deposit accepted.
crap lying around. That's it. Scanner. Oh, there's something there. Oh, Christ. I think that is literally everything. Oh, where is it there? Yep, that is it, I think. Oh. Goodness. Well,
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
I've been recording for like an hour now. Says 47 minutes at the top, but I had to keep pausing to think about what to say, and hopefully that doesn't come across in the video. I guess we'll find out. But yeah. Thank you for watching, I guess, or listening. Hopefully you're asleep by now. Oh, there's one more thing. That's why I love this game. It's so satisfying.
Valuable
Like,
object
I've
processed. Credit
cleared out
awarded.
this entire thing. Like top to bottom. Entire ship is gone. Hey, what's that? Oh, it's the tool thing. Anyway. Thank you for watching, I guess. And that's all for now. I think I'll have an audio out tomorrow, maybe? But yeah, thank you, I guess.